Good morning, everybody. Please let me know if you can hear me. Hi, Evgenia. Okay, you are from Ukraine. Greetings. Welcome. Thanks for joining our webinar. Good evening or good morning, right? Depending on where you are. It is nice to have you here in this webinar, and thank you for joining us. My name is Andrea Lipka. I am the past president of Sunshine State TESOL, which is a Florida organization for English language teachers and professionals. And I am happy to see you all here. Let me talk briefly about our organization before we start the webinar. Our organization is a nonprofit association of professionals dedicated to advancing the quality of English language teaching and learning through professional development, research, and also advocacy. We have an advocacy group this year. I know that some of my colleagues from board members are also here. Hi, Jennifer. And feel free to please share in the chat if you need any additional information on advocacy or other questions about our organization. We are happy to address these questions at the end of the presentation. So this is just a slide about our main activity is our yearly conference. And this year we had a lot of focus on advocacy. And we are also, I am proud to announce that we are also the organizers for TESOL 24, which is on March, right? If you would like to volunteer, please send us an email and I will share our social media information shortly. Become a member today. Of course, our organization cannot exist without our members. And please attend our yearly conference. We will send you updates about our conference. I believe this year it will be in October or November. And this is our social media channels. I will include the links in our chat box. And we are about to start our presentation. I would like to introduce myself, and then I will allow my co-presenter to introduce himself. My name is Andrea Lipka, and I am an alumni ambassador at the English language programs and the past president of Sunshine State TESOL. And my co-presenter is...
Thanks, Andrea. Hi, everyone. My name is Nick Gordon. I'm a marketing and outreach coordinator of the English language programs, and I was also an English language fellow myself in Kyiv, Ukraine for 2 years.
Very good. We have a participant from Ukraine. I'm happy to see her. Please allow us to start the slides. Okay. And we will start the presentation with a brief video made from a fellow in Indonesia to kind of give you a glimpse of what is this program about and what kind of benefits it can provide you, and also how you can make the best of the program.
My name is Sultan Stover, and I'm an English language fellow in Indonesia. My post is Ambon, Indonesia. It's the capital of the Maluku province, which is a series of islands far, far to the east. And that makes me the easternmost English language fellow in Indonesia. I've spoken to other fellows, and there's just a lot of diversity in regards to your day as a fellow, and I think each one provides a very, very unique experience. For example, Indonesia, it has large cities, and has places like Ambon that are more rural and more natural, and I feel very, very lucky to be here. A typical day for me living in Ambon is maybe sometimes my counterpart will come before class and we'll talk about the day. He'll try to help me with my bahasa, and that's usually what will happen in the morning. Then either together or alone, I'll get on a motorcycle, which is actually a very new experience for me. It's actually a lot of fun riding a motorcycle through the city. I actually live on the opposite side of the island from where most of my classes are. And so I take the motorcycle, I take a ferry across the Bay of Ambon to the other side of the island where most of my classes are. Usually there's a lot of traffic on my way there, but when I get there, I just begin and teach my classes. Universitas Patimura has about 20,000 students. Most of the students are from the Maluku province, and they come from all of the surrounding islands. The students of Umpati are actually very different from the students that I taught in New York. There's extreme eagerness to learn the language, as the understanding is that the greater your English capacity and the more English you know, the better your chances are at finding work and actually improving your social status. And so we actually have a great time. We go together in groups to sometimes have classes on the beach. Sometimes we go touring and they show me all the different wonderful places of Indonesia. And so not only have I developed a very fun relationship in regards to teaching, but also I've been able to have some great opportunities to get to know them. After teaching my classes at the campus Pegas Day, I usually stop for lunch at one of my favorite restaurants, which is the Room 88. They have this big white cooler, they open it, and there's fresh fish caught just that morning. And you actually get to choose which fish you want, and they will grill it up for you and serve it with a couple of sides. And it's actually really, really cheap, and it's actually really, really good. So I also work with American Corners. And American Corners is a library/event and presentation space in the university, and it's sponsored by the U.S. Embassy. There I do at least 2 presentations a month, basically on American culture, anything from holidays to music, anything that we feel is an important theme that the greater community would benefit from. In my spare time, there's actually a lot to do. One of the things I really enjoy doing is exploring the island. Usually after all my classes, after my day is done, the beaches are so close that I can just mosey on over and just sit and watch the sunset, relax, take a breather, and usually tell myself how lucky I am. I really have to say that this program is, I would say, the pinnacle for English language professionals. I can't imagine any other opportunity where you would have this much opportunity for professional development, this much actual hands-on classroom experience, this much time to actually create what it is that you would like to accomplish. I enjoyed so much that I've actually decided to renew. I was offered an opportunity to stay for another year, and I have accepted. So I will be staying in Ambon.
Okay, now I am ready to travel and I am also ready to have breakfast. This is the title of our presentation. Thank you for joining us today to learn about education opportunities for English language teaching, culture, and cultural exchange with the U.S. Department of State. I would like to ask you to raise your hand if you have ever attended our presentation, and also if you perhaps are a lamb, sorry, or have already visited our booth. No, nobody has attended our presentation, then wonderful. You are then the best audience. We usually also appreciate if we have alumni here to share their experiences. But we both, Nick and I, have done projects within this program. So I'm gonna allow Nick to take over, and I am happy to forward the slides for you.
Terrific. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, we're excited to share a bit of information of the program and some of our experiences. Maybe you'll be interested in applying as well. So English language programs places highly qualified U.S. citizen educators in the field of TESOL and projects funded by the U.S. Department of State to assist U.S. embassies in delivering English language programs and supporting public diplomacy and mutual understanding through cultural exchange. We have 3 programs that we'll talk about today: the Fellows, Specialists, and Virtual Educators. And these participants and alumni are counted among more than 50,000 participants in State Department funded international exchange programs. All English language programs participants benefit from the opportunity to form meaningful relationships, connections in a new culture, to gain valuable cross-cultural work experience, and to make a positive and life-changing impact in the lives of people they meet and work with, as well as in their own lives. So this map shows the 130 different countries that English language programs has hosted projects in, both in person and virtually. Of course, our newish virtual educator program has made it possible to have new projects in countries and build relationships with even more countries and more people in new locations. So that's exciting. So as mentioned, we have the 3 programs: Fellow, Specialist, and Virtual Educator. The Fellow program began in 1969, at the 50th-year anniversary in 2019. The Specialist program has been for 30 years now. Started in 1991, recently had the 30th year anniversary as well. And the Virtual Educator program, our newish one, as with many of us in the field of education, with the pause on in-country projects in 2020, due to the pandemic, we started virtual assignments, and it became so successful and popular that we made it its own permanent program, which Andrea was an alum of, and she'll speak more of in a bit, the English Language Virtual Educator program. Altogether, all 3 programs have over 3,000 alumni who've done projects in the years. So first, a bit about the Fellow program, which is what I was an English Language Fellow in Ukraine. The Fellow program offers in-country projects that last up to 10 months. Fellows, they're full-time assignments with just 20 contact hours a week, 10 hours for class prep or activities prep, and 10 in grading, 10 hours for secondary duties. And these projects are designed by local U.S. embassies and host institutions, for example, universities or binational centers, and they vary from country to country based on local needs. The goal of all the projects is, of course, developing English language teaching capacity and learning, and increasing mutual understanding through cultural exchange. Many projects do involve a degree of teacher training. That's an exciting element, not just classroom teaching, more teacher training. All projects are unique, challenging, rewarding. Participants, of course, have a great opportunity to develop their skills and enhance their careers. And our alums often go on to diversify their careers and step into leadership roles as well. And here you can see the 6 components that make up a fellowship. Again, while each fellow project is unique, all projects do share some element of these 6 components here. So for example, you'll have your primary duties at your host institution. This can involve teacher training courses, working with pre-service teachers. You could have language classes as well, and a lot of times you can be creative with those. For example, I had an American literature course and a writing workshop, and you can kind of, based on your host institution, you can work with them and find courses that meet needs and that excite you as well. Secondary duties give you a chance to kind of work outside your host institution to take on projects. For example, we've had teachers do Saturday morning yoga club or film club, gardening. So it's kind of combining English language learning with fun activities that you enjoy. Public diplomacy, this can be, you know, just forming people-to-people connections, can happen in big and small ways. A lot of times the embassy's public affair office will invite you to events or maybe give a talk or to assist, or it can just be sharing information about your hometown with your neighbors in your new country, host country. We have community projects. Again, these usually fill a need in the community. For example, people have done things on climate change, picking up cleaning beaches and so forth, or working with boys and girls clubs with kids in sports. Whatever kind of community needs you see and things that you have an interest in, you can collaborate with your embassy to find those projects. And then there's always a lot of professional development opportunities from, you can kind of your host country, you can travel all around. In Ukraine, I was able to go all over the country for different conferences and workshops, visiting K through 12 schools and universities, working with students and teachers. So a lot of chances for professional development. And of course, the wonderful moments of cultural exchange, where it's the local food, art, history, learning about that, and sharing your own culture as well from your back home. And lastly, for now, in the specialist program, you can see this slide shows the benefits. You do get a 35 grand stipend for your 10-month fellowship. And this is really yours to keep. It is taxed. That's one thing to note, but it's yours to keep because you get the second bullet. You can see a living allowance, which covers your daily costs of transportation, housing, food. So really everything's paid for. The 35 grand is a nice bonus, which is good when you don't have to pay rent or anything. It's quite a nice chunk there. And then, of course, international travel to and from your host country, any flights that you have. For example, there's a fellow mid-year conference, you'll be in another country, they fly you for that and cover all accommodations and everything. You get supplemental health benefits. Of course, healthcare is taken care of. Activities allowance is very helpful if you want to start extra projects. For example, you can have events, you know, for if you have holidays, you can get money for food and activities for Thanksgiving or 4th of July. And also learning resources, books, materials, online subscriptions. And also we do welcome you to bring family members. If you have a spouse or children, you get a dependence allowance for each dependent you bring through the month. Thanks, Sandra.
And now I would like to tell you about the English language specialist program. English language specialists are highly experienced TESOL professionals who serve as high-level consultants for short-term English language projects. Specialists exchange knowledge, build English language teaching capacity, and establish partnerships benefiting participants, institutions, and communities in the United States and overseas. And these are the benefits that you will receive. There are approximately 240 specialist projects every year. And these projects are designed by US embassies all over the world. These projects may be in country, but you could maybe benefit from a virtual project or a combination of both. The in-person projects range in length from 10 days to 3 months, while virtual projects have no minimum, just a second, because I have something on my screen, have no minimum or maximum duration. Specialists conduct needs assessments, collaborate on curriculum design, make plenary sessions, conduct intensive training, teacher training workshops, develop testing, and advise ministries of education. ESP projects are especially in demand to meet local needs. For example, as Nick mentioned earlier, projects related to climate change or disaster management, journalism, border security, and other critical areas. To ensure that the program engages as many American educators as possible in international exchange, specialists may be considered for only one project per year. So that's a little bit different from other programs. And oh, I thought that there is another slide. Okay, no, okay. So I'm gonna talk about the virtual educator program. So this is our newest program, and it started under COVID. and virtual educator projects are various lengths. Some projects may last for several weeks, while others may continue for an academic term and possibly longer. Virtual educators work in their homes or other personal spaces with their own equipment. And through the use of digital engagement tools, virtual educators facilitate communication across borders and assist in improving English language education in the world. These projects are an exciting ways to expand your teaching experiences, and you will have a unique opportunity to develop skills that will enhance your TESOL careers. And finally, the virtual educator projects are 100% online and often involve teaching of both language skills, methodology, and of course, culture. Every virtual educator project offers a unique opportunity for cultural exchange by connecting American teachers or even guest speakers to classrooms across the globe. Virtual educator projects are typically designed by U.S. embassies to foster meaningful connections that strengthen relationships with people of other countries. And virtual educator projects provide opportunities for professional development. And now let's talk about the benefits for the virtual educator project. You will receive a stipend of $35 per contact hours, supplement for planning before and during the project, and an activities allowance. And next, I would like to share my experience as a virtual educator in Guinea-Bissau in 2022. My project lasted for 15 weeks, and I was helping social media influencers and practicing journalists to develop their skills. And typically, in partnership with the Bissau Liaison Office, and also I was supported by the U.S. Embassy in Dakar, Senegal, and the U.S. Department of State. I provided weekly instruction, obviously virtually. We used WhatsApp to post comments. I also uploaded there the lessons and the recordings for the journalists. And then we used Zoom to communicate in class. And what I loved about the project is that many of the journalists had held full-time jobs while they also chose to study English and journalism online for their first time. And then they created news journal entries, pitched story ideas, and interviewed invited guest speakers. A big part of the project was for me to find reputable guest speakers from industry leaders all over the world to help journalists understand what is going on in their practice. So we had, those of you who are in Tampa Bay, you probably heard about Lane DeGregory, staff writer. She is a Pulitzer Award winner. Sean Kinan, assistant director from WMNF Radio. But we also invited guest speakers from the International Fact-Checking Network at Poynter and the Echo newspaper, the Global Investigative Journalism Network. So we really had a great time with our students. And I would like to share a brief video projects that I created that encapsulates their perspectives and voices in this project. And I would like to add that this project was challenging, and it's really up to you as a virtual educator to, you know, make it as big or as small as you prefer. But it allowed also me to get to know other experts in the field of journalism, connect them with my students. And some of these connections led to freelance projects for my students. So it was a great learning opportunity, and I am so proud that it continued even outside of my short project. Two tips that I have for other virtual educators is that invite guest speakers to connect with with experts from the field of journalism, and create a virtual learning community for your participants to interact with each other outside the training. So this is the two main goals that I had to achieve in this project. And I will stop here, and I will invite back Nick to share his experiences. Oh, sorry, my video wants to start again. Okay, and we talked about the items.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. So cool to see your project in that video. Andrea and I both share a journalism background, so really cool. And I'm excited for you to see moving forward another project, whether it's fellow or specialist, and how you use your ESP skills there. So just a bit about my project as well. As I mentioned, I was a fellow in Kyiv, Ukraine from 2017 to 19. And in short, I absolutely loved it. It was an amazing experience. It had such a profound effect on me. I now write for the Ukrainian weekly newspaper because I just want to try to help them share their culture and promote their arts and that sort of thing. So here we can see, as we mentioned, primary duties at the host institution, and mine happened to be I was placed at the English Writing Center in the National University of Kyiv-Mohyla. And I got to be the director there and do, train my tutors and do all the staffing and all that, but also host fun events like English speaking clubs and writing workshops and different activities. On the right, that was one there's another, I had two host institutions kind of. This was the America House. Usually there's an embassy outreach place in the capital city that if you're placed there, you can do a lot of different events. They'll invite you to do things. And this one was for Anti-Slavery Day. So we kind of discussed that and had some activities on that one. And I think, well, we can come more to application in a moment, but I would say the reason I got posted at the English writing centers because that was something I talked a lot about in my application. I really enjoyed. I was working in an intensive writing program in New York City. I talked a lot about that and they placed me there. So when you apply, use those keywords and really talk about what you love and what you have experience with. Thanks, Andrew. And as we also mentioned, a lot of community-based projects. For this one, the local access class, they have those in most countries that fellows go to. This is the English Access Micro Scholarship Program for disadvantaged teens to study English. And they invited me to do they had an around the world summer camp and we studied different countries. And here I was doing activities based on Japanese culture because I live there. So we studied about geisha, sumo, sushi and Japanimation, all these fun things. And we also made little, those old fortune teller origamis that you might remember from your youth. So that was fun. And as we also talked about, there's chances for public diplomacy. Here I was invited to work at the Veterans Hub. These were Ukrainian soldiers who had returned from the Donbass conflict region in the East. And we would practice their English. We had English speaking club, and they also wanted to transition back into their working careers. So we did a lot of stuff on job prep, practice interviews and looking at resume building and cover letters and that sort of stuff. So they were a great group to work with. Despite the incredible hardships they'd faced, they really had a lot of positive attitudes and a real desire to improve their English language skills and move forward in their careers. And I think this is my last slide, but as we talked about the fun stuff, cultural exchange is always part of your fellowship. Take lots of photos when you get out there for sure. For me, I lived in Podil, which is the historic district right in the center of Kyiv. My university was 5 minutes away. As you can see there in that photo, that's the famous St. Andrew's Church. Such a beautiful area, and it was such a joy to walk out there. They had a big Christmas market in the winter and such a nice atmosphere with, people playing bandura, traditional folk instruments outside, violins and flutes, and always the nice snow adds to the atmosphere in Ukraine. And then I was really obsessed with the incredible Soviet architecture that I saw all around the country. Here's the Dnipro Circus I got a photo of, which was constructed in 1980. And as you're probably aware, there's a lot of those little hidden gems that kind of pop out of nowhere, some of them abandoned, which adds this really strange beauty, this huge monuments that are just completely left in the middle of nowhere. So that was really fascinating for me. And now we want to turn to a bit about the professional development of the programs. This was, again, before you leave, you have a pre-departure orientation in DC. That's an exciting time. All the fellows come, over 100 fellows are there, and you meet everyone and you learn a lot about the program and all the teachers. That's the 3 or 4 day thing, all expenses paid as well. We also have the great Community of Practice website where teachers are constantly sharing resources, job postings, highlights from their countries around the world, and different professional development events that we host online as well for different teaching workshops and so forth. We have, again, online community events, training courses. We have specialist master classes, Andrew talked about climate change and social emotional learning. Those are always free for alumni to join. And they're kind of asynchronous. You work at your own pace, but they're fantastic courses and you get a badge of completion. We offer full conference grants for alumni who want to attend a conference and present on an aspect of their work as a fellow specialist or virtual educator. We have several coming to TESOL Tampa shortly. If you'll be there, you can meet some of them. Again, these are alumni who get a full grant to go. They just apply and share what their presentation will be with us based on their project. And you also become a member of the International Exchange Alumni. These are many State Department included programs, and they host so many cool professional development events and opportunities for grants and so forth. And yeah, that wraps that. Thanks, Andrew. So again, a little bit about eligibility. We did mention the graduate degree in TESOL or related field. This can be, even if you have international relations or education or history, depending on your experience, if you have experience ESL, EFL fields, some full-time years, maybe 3 to 5, combined with you can have a master's degree in a different field, not just applied linguistics or TESOL, and the application team looks at your comprehensive package when you apply. U.S. citizenship is a requirement because it's an exchange program for U.S. citizens to build mutual understanding around the world. And of course, we have a lot more information on application details, eligibility, of course, including starting your application elprograms.org.
And now about the application process. So applications are accepted only through the program's online program or portal, sorry, through the website. Each program has its own application process, and the website provides a detailed outline to what you need to submit. We always recommend that applicants give themselves plenty of time to complete the application. You can save and return to any section before submitting. For the fellow program, the application is for the following, not for the current academic year. And for the virtual educator program, the application for the upcoming cycle opens in March. And then it stays open for new applicants until early winter. For the specialist application, you apply just once, and then you can apply at any time. After you apply, your application will go through a rigorous multi-step review process. And the fellow application, as I mentioned, it was open with a priority deadline December 31st, and then selection will begin on January 2024, and then they continue until projects are filled, okay? For the specialist application, specialist projects are created year-long on a rolling basis, and candidates may be considered for projects based on specific qualifications they may have. And as I mentioned, for virtual educators, the application will open for 2024-2025 year on March 1st, 2024. And the list of eligibility requirements, Nick has already mentioned, an applicant has to be a US citizen with a graduate degree in TESOL or a related field, right? Applied linguistics, English language, or let us know if you have a related field, and then Nick can help untangle this question. If you have a degree in another field, you can apply with a recognized TESOL certificate or US teaching endorsement. Applicants typically need to have 5 years of teaching experience, with 3 of those years in ESL or EFL context. And our application for the 24-25 academic year is open, and the priority deadline was December 31st, 2023. And matching started already in January and continues until all projects are matched. And Nick, this is your slide? Oh, no?
Yeah, I believe that is. Thanks, Sandra. Do I need to, is that me? Oh, no, this one I think we
covered.
Yeah, that one might be good.
Okay.
Okay. But it's following on that, I'll share a link in the chat here. We do have a great application tips and guides video on the website. If you want to visit that, it can be really helpful with how to get in there. And then, as I mentioned, I think that one of the key things is really the application can be a bit long. It took me, when I applied, I would work on it bits and pieces here and there for a couple of weekends when I wasn't, I'd teach during the week and come back to it. You can save your work. And really, once I looked at it and once I realized this was actually a fun opportunity to talk about things I love in teaching and things I love in education, then it's really a great chance. They'll match you. The program does a great job matching you with a project that fits your interests and skill set. So you can, those short answer questions on there, you can really talk about things that you've had good experiences with in your career. And before we come to Q&A, just want to mention you can always follow us on social media, elprograms.org. We also have our YouTube channel. We have a fun new series, Stories from the Field. They're just short 5-6 minute stories of participants out there with moments of cultural exchange and learning they experienced. So we do love to hear from you and we love to stay in touch. You can also sign up for our newsletter on the website. It's just quarterly and gives program updates and application updates and so forth. And I think now, Andrea, we're open for questions, right?
Yes. Do you have any questions for us? Feel free to use the chat box, or you can also unmute and ask your question.
We have anyone who's thinking about maybe applying sometime. So a lot of times it is about timing. I know everyone has life commitments, maybe with your family or career or whatnot, but it's usually when the time is right, you can say, all right, I'm ready to, whether it's a virtual educator project and supplement your income and professional development, work from home, or if you're ready to head out into the field.
I can share my application thought and special circumstance. So I work full time. For people like me, virtual English educator program is probably a great choice. And what I truly appreciated that they were always happy to work with me to accommodate my schedule with my future student schedule. So it was a negotiation process. And I think that that's a strength of the program. So if you work full-time or you study full-time and you work part-time, maybe don't get discouraged because I think that you just ask Nick, can I do this? Send us an email and we are happy to answer your questions. Is anybody planning to apply for the program, or perhaps we can see you at SSTESOL in our booth?
That would be fun as well.
I will add the email in the chat in case you are thinking to contact us. We are happy to oh no, I don't have the email, but I will get the email from my account. Okay. Okay, so I dropped it in the chat box. And if you don't have any questions, we will let you go and say goodbye. And thank you so much for attending these webinars. And we hope to be in touch with you and answer any questions you might have.
Thanks so much, everyone. We look forward to hearing from you, possibly seeing your applications coming through.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Andrea. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nick. Bye.